Hey everyone, welcome to What's New version 4 of OpenLM. I would like to jump right in. First, I want to thank you all for joining us. Today, I will be going over all the enhancements of version 4. We will have the presentation. After that, I will go over all the changes on a live demonstration. And at the end, we can have a Q&A session. If you have any questions, anything that you want to know, you will be able to ask, no problem. So first, let's start with the last version, which was 3.3. It was released in January of 2017. And it mainly focused on greatly improved data processing. The authentication was enhanced. The license manager interfacing was greatly expanded, the user interface was enhanced, and we had new modules, the reporting hub, which some of you are using, and the report scheduler, which I guess most of you are using. So the goals of version 4 is first of all to get everything more automated. We want to have the configuration automated. We want to have automated alerts. We strive to improve the UI so you have to do less. So you don't have to do so much to configure new servers, to get new alerts. But in time, I will go over all of it. So we've also added a way to monitor hybrid licensing, meaning that if you have floating licenses as well as node-locked licenses or named licenses, then you'll be able to monitor all of them together. We can better handle license reservations, a topic I will go over near the middle of the presentation. And a new module that we've added, which is the OpenLM App Manager, which allows you to actually monitor hybrid licensing. Now, what's new? In what part? So everything has been revamped. Everything has a few enhancements added to it. So the OpenLM server had a few, the broker, the agent, also the LDAP synchronization. As we said, we've added the app manager. The alerts extension has been greatly modified to include much more automatic processes, and also a few changes to the reporting hub extension. Now let's jump right in. Let's start with the server component, which holds the OpenLM server and of course the easy admin. So most of the visual changes, enhancements will be here. So first of all, we can now track multiple pool denials. Before, if you had a multiple pool and you got denied, so you wouldn't know from which pool you got denied from. So now you can. Now you have in version 4, you have this discrimination. The reporting resolution for RLM and the RMS was changed and it was shaved down to seconds. It used to be minutes, but now the reporting resolution can be by seconds, which is great. The configuration itself, when you want to configure a new license manager, the configuration itself got way simpler. Before, you needed to set it in the broker, set it in the server, and then go to the easy admin, the interface, and see what's going on. So now you will get a line popping up in your interface saying that there's a broker sending data. There's a license manager sending data to OpenLM server. So you only need to just click it and that's it. So I will show you that as well. The system alerts has been also beefed up. So now also LDAP synchronization and broker commands execution is shown in the system alerts. So before, you didn't know when the LDAP finished, for example. So you started the LDAP, you know when you started it, but you didn't know when it finished. You needed to go and check it every few hours. But now you will just get an alert in the system alerts. It will show you, it will tell you that the LDAP synchronization is finished. The denials report, we've added, as we said, multiple pull denials, but also now we have two new columns to the denials table, which is email and version information, which was not there before. The filtering of all reports was changed a bit in a few ways. One of which is now you can select multiple workstation as a filter, which was not existent before. You can use a wildcard to select a workstation that you want. And the filtering itself, I will show you it, but server filtering, vendor filtering, it will only affect the feature filtering. So I will explain in depth in a moment. So the groups view is something that a lot of users have asked for, and we finally answered it, and we developed a way for you to search your groups. Before, you could only see the tree view and you could not search the group. So this is okay if you have like 20 groups, then it's okay. But if you have like 200 groups, you need to search them. You just need that capability. So we've added that, so now you can see the groups as a list view, and as the other reports in OpenLM, just search them. You can search everything starting with USA or whatever. Version 4 now has incorporated reserved licenses into the data, into the database. Now, before, reserved licenses were not incorporated at all. It was just ignored. Now, sorry for that. So the issue with the handling reserved licenses is that licenses were supposedly free. The OpenLM system told you, okay, you have like 4 free licenses and they're not in use, but people still got denied. Engineers still got denied. So we kind of scratched our heads thinking what could be the issue. So the reason is unused reserved licenses that were reported as available. But if you have a reserved license, then it's the same as having a borrowed license. Only someone can use it, and the rest of the group, the rest of the users cannot access it. So in effect, it's like a borrowed license. It's not there. It's not in the pool, in the license pool. So the OpenLM functionality now dictates that reserved licenses will be taken into account and will be treated as borrowed licenses. So the effective reports are basically all the reports: the license usage, feature usage status, selected feature statistics, license servers, everything. Everything will now also show reserved licenses as being used. You can see version 3.3. In blue, you can see version 4. Now you can see that version 4 is much higher, is by 1 license higher than version 3.3, because version 3.3 did not take into account the reserved license, and version 4 does. So this I'm going to show you during the demonstration, but you can see what happens when you need to configure a new license manager. So you just see a red line, you click approve, and that's it. You see that the LDAP inside the alert, the LDAP can now tell you when it started, when it finished, and the broker also tells you what it does. The denials also have email and version, and groups, as you see here, you can search for your selected groups, but I'm going to show you this anyway. Now the OpenLM Alerts extension was beefed up quite a bit. Now you'll be able to start and stop license managers remotely, meaning that when a condition is tripped, you can send a start, stop, or reread to the license manager, and this way you can handle it automatically. For example, if the license manager is down, then switch it up again, turn it on. Also, if you had an alert for duplicate license usage, for example, now you can define what you mean by duplicate usage. So does a duplicate usage mean the same application on the same workstation, but if it's for two different users, is that still duplicate? Maybe duplication means on the same workstation, or maybe same user on different workstation. So you see, you have a lot of options to define what is a duplicate usage. So we added a list for you to choose from. What do you mean by duplicate usage? Also, you will be able to notify involved users. So let's say that a user is involved in duplicate usage alert. So you will get the alert, but also you can involve him. You can send the user himself. You can send him an email saying that, hey, you're using a duplicate license or whatever. This you can do with a custom subject to the email. You can change the email itself to read this title can read duplicate license usage or used over 12 hours or whatever you'd like. Also, now the feature usage percentage calculation has been changed. So there's an alert to alert you once a usage percentage of a certain feature has been tripped. The condition has been tripped. So now you can select, do you mean to get notified when the first feature it trips the condition, or when all of them trip the condition? Because if you select one, that's okay, but if you select 5 features, then do you want to get notified on the first one, or when all of them go over 90%? So this gives you, as you see, better automation and better managerial capabilities with the OpenLM extension, alerts extension. So I'm not going to go over this right now, but as you can see, we've added a lot of options here. You can choose if to involve the user, if the usage itself, do you mean all features, single feature, what do you mean by duplication? And lastly, the resulting alert email is much more coherent. Before, it was just one string telling you the issue. Now you'll get it as a table. You get the condition that was triggered, the features that were triggered. It's much more structured now. The OpenLM Broker had a few new enhancements. First of all, the RMS can now be automatically detected, something that was not present in version 3.3. Also, automatic detection is now available for Linux. Automatic detection is now available for Linux. The broker can also interact now with license managers that run as a Windows service. So if it's a Windows service, a license manager that runs as a Windows service, OpenLM Broker can interface with it. It can start and stop any of the license managers that have a Windows service. And also, we've removed from the Advanced Settings tab, we've removed well, you needed to set your executable file, the lmutil, the DSLS util, and all that. Now we remove that. You just need to put that in one place now. Before, you need to put it in the commands Also, you needed to put the LMUtil in the Advanced tab, but now you only need to input it in the Commands tab. So as you can see here, we said that the start and stop can now be done on all license managers that have a Windows service. Sorry. Automatic detection is now on RMS, Linux, and that's it. Let's move on to the directory synchronization extension. It did not have a lot of enhancements here, but pretty useful ones. So first of all, we support eDirectory with SSL protocol. The LDAP attributes can now be incorporated into OpenLM. So for example, you can group different users by the attribute department, by the attribute country, by any attribute that you'd like that you have in your Active Directory, you can now pull to OpenLM. You can also customize the objects, meaning that you can have a hierarchy of groups, groups within a group within a group. You can also customize it to choose any custom attribute that you added. So it's not department or country, but it can be just whatever you want. Maybe just any organizational group that you can choose, that you can think of. So in the LDAP screen, you can see the hierarchical. You can select the hierarchical or user attributes. You see that I've added a custom user attribute. I called it test, and it can even catch that. It can even compile test if I have that in the Active Directory. But of course, you can input the description, country, everything, and it will be incorporated. The agent component, first of all, now it's much faster. The performance was highly improved. It has a fast response time in the interface, and it has much lower resource usage. This is done using the paging mechanism. So now if you have a few pages, meaning you have maybe more than 1,000 or maybe more than 100 features. So now you'll be able to page them in the license usage information screen. You will be able to page them, and each page will load up pretty quickly. The OpenLM Reporting Hub, most of you probably don't know about the Reporting Hub, but I'll save explanations on it for next webinar that we have. We have an extensions webinar, which is coming up, I think, next week. But I'm gonna just focus on what we changed. Generally, the OpenLM Reporting Hub gives you the ability to custom query your database. So you can just drag and drop columns. If the OpenLM reports are just not enough anymore and you want something else, you want to do something of your own, you want to calculate different measures, you want to show them in different ways, then the Reporting Hub extension is the thing that you need. But the changes that we've added is first we've added package information, so you'll be able to also filter by package. Idle time information, you're also able to see idle time. We've added versioning. All versions is now it's now possible to select all versions for a certain feature. We've also added a SQL Server instance support and Firebird support. So if you have a Firebird database, you can now also use the OpenLM Reporting Hub. So the App Manager, I'm not going to focus on the changes that we've made because I think that nobody knows about the App Manager. So mainly I'll explain what it does. The App Manager allows you to monitor hybrid licensing. Now, what does that mean? Hybrid licensing means a mix of floating licenses and named licenses and node lock licenses and all different types of licenses. Because let's say that you have AutoCAD, but you don't exactly have 100% coverage of the floating licenses. Some users need those named licenses, the user locked licenses. So in order to track both of them, you can use the App Manager, which allows you to also track those user named licenses and set different criteria both on the floating licenses and also on the named licenses. So what does that mean, criteria? Well, you can see on the bottom here, you can set a condition. So for example, if the time is after 10 o'clock and the application is Autodesk and the username is Sagi and this is the workstation and it includes the group USA, the version in 2017, then deny. Only if these four conditions happen, then deny. Else you can allow it with different rules. But this gives you a lot of control over who pulls licenses and who doesn't. So for example, you can have the same feature and say that USA can pull the license from 10 to 8. China can pull the license from 8 to 10. So you can play around with it, and this way you can stretch your licenses, the floating licenses and the name or node lock licenses as well. So for example, you can also tell how much of the named licenses are used. So for example, you have a user that has a named license but is not actually using it for more than 5 minutes a day or maybe 2 hours in a week. So you can tell him that, hey, you're not using the named license. You need to move to the floating license pool. And this way you can save some money on that. So what's next? You can download and install the new and enhanced features of OpenLM 4. You can download the core components now, and you can get the extensions from OpenLM sales. So just to recap, the server, broker, and agent got a few modifications and enhancements. The extensions that got enhanced are the directory synchronization, the alerts, reporting hub, and app manager. So now I would like to show you the differences between version 4 and version 3. So let's start with the license servers window. On the left you can see the version 4 and on the right you can see version 3. So first of all, what we can see is that in version 4 there are these red lines. These red lines with approve, ignore on them. They are license managers sending information to the OpenLM server. So in order to configure them, I simply need to click approve and they will be configured. You see that in version 3.3 we don't have that here. Now we've also talked about denials, that the denials have changed. So mainly the email, you see here, email and version, which allow you to track different pools of features. You see that in version 3.3 we did not have that. The groups window, you can see, you can recognize this is a groups window, the tree view that you all know. The tree view now has also a list view. So you can select, for example, UK or only USA. So you can filter and select as a result, and it's much simpler. It has been asked by many clients. Now, license usage report. Before I go to the graph, I just want to draw your attention right here to this blue triangle, blue alert mark. This means that now in version 4.4 when you search a server name or a license type or additional key, it simply filters the features that you can choose. In version 3.3, it did not simply filter, it gave you all the options, and it also calculated the server that you chose. So now, if you can see, you see a difference between version 3.3 and version 4. Version 4, you see, it's higher for this whole period. It's higher in statistics by 1, meaning that we had one reserved license, where in version 3.3 we still have that reserved license, but it's just not showing. So now the data itself is much more validated as a result. The alerts extension had a few enhancements added to it. So first of all, let's say that you have a license server which has failed to connect, is not responding. So if you look at version 3.3, you can see that you can simply email, SMS, easy admin, or event log the issue. Now in version 4, you can see that you also have a run a broker command on the LM server. So this enables you to send a start, stop, reread, restart, anything, and you'll be able to automatically start up the server. Now, we also said that the alerts extension will now enable you to choose your notifications if you want to get notified and when. So if we open the usage percentage notification, we see that the condition is still the same. We have it above 90, but in version 4, we have usage of a single feature, total usage of all selected features. And in version 3.3, we don't have that. Now, what is that? You tell the condition itself, what do you mean by over 90%? If I choose 5 different features, do I want to get notified when a single feature goes over 90% or all of them going over 90%? So this gives us a lot more flexibility. Now let's take a look at the license duplicate usage. You see that now you'll be able to select what you mean by duplicate usage. Is it same license on single workstation, related license on multiple workstations? You can pick and choose and customize it how you want. So you can see in version 3, for example, there was not even an option to edit the condition. Now let's say that you set a condition where you will get notified once a usage period is over, let's say, 600 minutes. So you'd want to get emailed about it, you'd want to get notified, but you can also notify the involved user. So if a user used for over 12 hours, he will get an email saying, hey, you've been using for over 12 hours. And this you can do with the customized title. You can just tell him, hey, you are using too much. And it will be in the title, in the email title. And this is it for the OpenLM server changes, the main changes. Now I just want to show you the changes made by made in the broker. So the main change in the broker, the main visual change, we talked about that now you can detect license managers in Linux operating system. We talked about that now RLM and RMS are now seconds resolution, but it's not, RMS also can be detected, but it's not something visual. The only visual thing I can show you here is if you go to the advanced settings, you see that in version 3.3, this one, you see that you have all these utility paths that you need to set. In version 4, you don't have those utility paths. It's only in the command. So you need to set it here in the commands. You click update, and the status and data inquiry, everything gets updated accordingly. Now, lastly, what I want to do is show you the OpenLM reporting hub before we move on to our Q&A session. So let me quickly open that, and I'll show you what the OpenLM App Manager can do. So the App Manager, as we said, can track hybrid licenses. So if we open that up here, you see that I have Autodesk and also pzip, just to show you that it can track also applications without a license manager, without a license at all. If we go to license consumption rules, and we see that we can set different rules of consumption. So for example, we have deny USA after 10. So if it's under group USA, if it's after 10 o'clock, then deny. So just to get denied, let's say deny me after 10 o'clock, and let me show you. I will try to pull a license now, and remember, this is for after 10 o'clock, deny. So I'll try to pull an AutoCAD license, and I get a message telling me that application AutoCAD cannot be launched. Access denied due to deny USA after 10 rule. Now, okay, this is strange. Let's say allow. Let's make sure. So now let's go back there and try to pull the license again. Now it lets me pull the license because I did not go over any condition. Now this can be done on floating licenses, on named licenses, on applications that do not have a license manager. Well, I don't have a license left. That's a different matter. But anyway, you see that you have a lot of flexibility. You can set the conditions that you want for people to use, and the usage itself is just showing here, just as simple usage. You see the app manager here. You see it as usage like your other license servers. Also, you can set the limit, for example, of licenses. So if I set the limit to 1 and 2 people try to pull AutoCAD, they will get the same message as you saw, but just says the limit has been exceeded, so you cannot pull a license. And there are a lot of other options here. I'm not going to dwell on them. You can deny multiple versions. You can specify if you mean the consumption is by process, by workstation, whatever you'd like. So basically, this is it for the OpenLM presentation of what's new in version 4. What I would like to do now is answer a few questions. If it's not personally related questions, meaning on your system personally, then you can ask away anything that you didn't understand. Maybe you have a few questions. You can ask either using your microphone, telephone, or you can just write down the question in the chat below, the GoToMeeting chat. Anyway, thank you very much. I thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, please stay.
Hello, Daniel Shtansky here. I have a question regarding the new configuration of the server. Did I correctly understood that we just need to configure new service manager on broker?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And afterwards, the server will apply all the changes accordingly as we wish to.
Yes, exactly. For example, let's click approve here on this one. Let's click approve. You see it asks me for the name. Let's call it test. We'll save it. And you see that it saved the test. Now it's still, it says here that it's not configured because we only need to restart the OpenLM server service. So if I go here, go to services, and I just restart the OpenLM server service, this one, and that's it. The server itself will be configured.
Oh, so there is no functionality that if we'll apply several new services, we'll have somewhere, as an administrator, of course, a possibility to restart it from the easy admin web page.
You
Still need to
yeah.
jump to the.
Yeah, you still need to go there, but you don't need to configure it. You just need to restart the service. That's it.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
no problem. Lawrence is asking, can you set duration conditions so I can kill AutoCAD if it's been running for over 12 hours? This can be done using the active agent extension. The active agent extension uses the extension of AutoCAD to save the information and close it after a certain usage has been met. So you can tell it to, if you recognize idle time of more like 12 hours, or maybe you recognize that the system has been idle and the application has not been working for 12 hours, then release the license, close the application, and save the work. But this is a different extension. This is the active agent extension.
A question to this. So this extension
Mhm.
will be additionally paid, or it is covered under the base OpenLM license?
Both the app manager, as I just showed you, and the active agent are paid extras, are paid extensions.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay. Does anyone else have a question? Have something they want to know? Okay. So, I have a question here. Is it possible to upgrade an existing 3.3 broker and 3.3 server version in an easy way? Yes, upgrading is very simple. You just download the executable file from our download page from our website, and you just double click and next, 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 and that's it. The system is upgraded. For the brokers, you just put the file on the license server, and yeah, just activate and next, 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 and that's it. For the server as well, just put the file on the OpenLM server machine and activate next, next, next. And that's it. It's very simple. I just want just note to back up your database, your OpenLM database, before upgrading the OpenLM server. Now, nothing should go wrong, but just in case, also back up the database. Will it require an updated license file for the upgrade? It depends which version you are using. But anyway, if you used version 3.3 and you're going to version 4, then no problem. If you used version 3.2 and or before that, I would suggest to get the new to get a new license file, because then we can add the um, report scheduler extension. Now, the report scheduler extension is a free extension, but it does go into the license file. So I would suggest to update your license file just to get that extension. The report scheduler allows you to schedule different reports to be sent out to emails, like email me every Sunday about Autodesk. whatever you'd like. So just for that, I would suggest to update.
Okay. How? Mm, Hello. Sorry. How does it look like in terms of connection with Microsoft BI, or who will do the upgrade from 3.3, and then we are running the the BI solution in parallel. Do we need to update ATL, Postgres, etc. in the way, or what
Now,
will be the procedure here?
yeah, if you're using the OpenLM Reporting Hub and you want to upgrade, you will need to simply download it, put the new ETL files and new sample reports, just replace them. But you will also need an ETL license file. We've added also hostname and MAC address support to our BI licenses. So if you want to upgrade, please contact support. We will help you to upgrade also your ETL and reporting hub.
Thank you.
What does that scheduling update thing do again?
Sagi, it seems that you are muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am very sorry. So I will begin. The OpenLM report scheduler, what it does, it allows you to schedule reports to be sent out to emails, like on a schedule. If you, for example, want to send emails like every week to your boss regarding this feature, for example, so you can just go to Share, Schedule, and in here you can send it to a certain email, to a certain group, maybe a few users if you'd like. And you can set it up to be sent every Sunday, Monday at 12 o'clock, whenever, only at the start of the month. So you can schedule it and forget about it. So if your manager asks you for a weekly report, you can schedule him a weekly report and forget about the fact that he ever asked you to. Great.
This is Lawrence again. So in the reservation accounting for, you've got the one in there. So if that one user actually gets his license, it's not going to change, correct?
No, if he gets the license, then it's still used. But now it will be used under his name, not under the reserved group name.
So the reserve group name. So the reserve will go away?
If someone takes the reserved license, let's say you have one license reserved, and one user takes that license, then it will show the same. It will be used because the user has used it. But the only difference is the usage will be under his name. It will not be under the reserved group name. For example, I reserve one license to group A, and Lawrence is a part of group A. Lawrence tries to check out a license, so in the statistics it will be reserved to group A, and then it will be used by Lawrence. When Lawrence checks it back in, then it will move back to the reserved group. I suggest to set up a test system to install it and see all the differences and understand the repercussions of them. Also, you can exclude them if you want. You can exclude the unconsumed reservation.
Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah, I have 4.1. This new thing has been throwing me for a little bit.
I see. So yeah, you can exclude that, and we'll as the versions go, we will just add new enhancements to help you exclude it in here, in other reports.
No, I've been having the issue at the server screen listing what's used, total numbers.
Yeah, that was also affected. Everything in OpenLM is changed according to the reserved licenses as well.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
So thanks everyone. I think that this just covers up the whole lot of our time. So thank you very much for joining, for giving me some of your time. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you. Thank you very much.